The weed made Kareem delusional. Kyle is still locked up, and Priscilla trying to pour boiling water on Sam. Now, look, it's a good thing that Sam is a light sleeper, right? Because she was about to warm his ass up. We used to hear about these kind of things happening back in the day. I didn't know that this was still a thing. First of all, Sam just barged up into the house on the last episode, talking about he's home to stay. He was gonna camp out in the guest room, and she can't do anything about it. And that's kind of messed up, and I think this is where the problem lies, guys. And we will get to that part just a little bit later. So Sam's in the guest room chilling, getting some rest, when Priscilla ran up in the room, threatening to pour the water on him, and then he popped up in shock, barely opened his eyes, and he's standing there like, Priscilla, you really gonna do this to me? And Priscilla was like, you jam right. Sam played the sympathy card, but it didn't work. Why did he ask her this? He already knew what she was gonna say. Priscilla was hot, and so was that pot of water in her hands. We can see the steam coming right off of it. And see, this is a very important moment for Sam right here. He knew that he had to be very careful with what he chose to say at this point, because the wrong word could set her off. And that pot of water might just slip a little bit. Can you imagine pouring a pot of hot boiling water on somebody? I'd be grossed out just to have to watch their skin melt and everything sticking to the skin right in front of me. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to do that. Then Sam started saying the little things just so that he could stay in the house. Priscilla, just put the pot down. Priscilla, let me just get my things. Priscilla was like, nah, just get out, Sam. And that big pot too. I wonder how long it took the water to start boiling. That's a big, thick pot, right? So while the water was boiling on the stove, or trying to boil, she was probably sitting here thinking about what she's gonna say and which side of the bed she was gonna stand on. But it didn't take too long. I mean, how long does it take you to say, get out, Sam? Sam apologized, and he told her that he didn't know what he was thinking. And I'm glad that we finally get to see something out of Sam. I mean, he ain't said much about it since he left the yellow room. And this is really the first time that we get to see any real emotion, a real apology with some feeling behind it. Don't you just hate when somebody apologizes just to get what they want, like they want to get something else from you? And we know that's not coming from a genuine place. Your whole motive is to get someone to do something for you or something out of them, right? And they're not really sorry. So while he's grabbing his shoes, she's standing over him with that pot, daring him to do something stupid. And he looking up at her like he's really scared and hopeful, right? He was scared because he ain't trying to get lit up by no hot water. And it could have even been grits in there, but that's a big pot. So if grits were in there, she wouldn't have been swinging it so freely like she was. That would have been kind of heavy. And he was hopeful because he was hoping that he could just come up with another scenario to stall her out so that he wouldn't have to leave. But he did eventually leave, and Priscilla sat down to grieve a little bit more on the edge of her bed. She's crying, she's lowering her head, and Sam sprinted back into the bedroom and grabbed her. And he kept saying how sorry he was and that she didn't deserve what he did. Sam is crying, he's sweating. He's trying hard to get back into the house. But he had Priscilla thinking that she was a bad wife. And finally, Sam took full responsibility for his actions. And it's about freaking time. I've been waiting for him to express this for months now. She said that she can't stand to look at him and she wanted him to leave. Then he suggested that she take some time off of work and go see a counselor. So she's like, now you want to go see a counselor. And of course, in her eyes, it's a little too late. She feels like the counseling should have came before he got caught up in the yellow room. And it's very interesting to me because after this, Sam went over to Nancy and Richard's so that he can camp out for the night because he, got put out again. And Richard was acting as if Priscilla is supposed to just get over this, right? And people can't really tell you how to feel. And of course, he knows firsthand what it's like to be betrayed. But I'll cover that scene in my full breakdown because Richard should know better. And after all, he took Nancy through it before he actually forgave her. I mean, he took a long time too, so. And before I end this, I just want to mention how Sam came home last week. And in this episode, Priscilla told him that it's not about him. And this is why I posed the question in my last video about Priscilla and Sam. I asked if it was too early for him to come home, and I really think that it is. Sam doesn't realize that he just can't move like he wants to move because he ain't got nowhere to go. And he's wrong for being dismissive of her feelings like this. I think he's really just only thinking about himself. And all he wants to do is sleep back in his bed and come back home and just go on like everything's all right. Everything's not all right, Sam. You can't hurt someone in this way and then tell them when and how they're supposed to heal. That's selfish, inconsiderate, and it's one-sided. Of course you want to come home. Of course you want Priscilla to forgive you and you want things to go back to normal. But she's not ready for that. She's just not ready. She may never be ready. And Sam really needs to accept that. Y'all, we can't forget that this is Sam's second offense. He's done this before, so to me, this is a pattern with him. She forgave him the first time, she got rid of her boyfriend, and after this, she still married him. If your wife is not putting out, you find out why and you fix it. You don't go and screw your boss. They've been married for 15 years with no issues in the bedroom, right? Well, none that we know about anyway. And when you have issues like this, you seek counseling or at least talk about what's wrong. The way that Sam chose to handle the problem was the worst one ever. He just needed to explore other options, but he never gave himself time to do that. And we hear all the time about, men have to do this, they have to do that, they have to get rid of it somehow, they have to get it out and because it's as if you don't have any type of self-control when that happens. Like, you're a grown man. Like, come on, like, let's be fair, because if it were her, then it would be a total different story. And Sam took the easy way out, just sticking your wood in the boss. I guess it's easier than working things out with your wife. There's a lot to be said here, and a lot of people, especially men, say that his affair was justified and she should have, gave him some, all forgiving of Sam, but where is the grace for her? Where is it? In some of the episodes, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to get back together. They're going to be okay, because Priscilla is just hiding behind her emotions right now. And I know that she really wants to get back with Sam. But then again, when I see episodes like this where she's holding boiling water over him and wants to threaten him, I don't know. It just kind of makes me wonder. Maybe she doesn't want to get back together because, again, Sam forced his way back into the house, which, again, is very insensitive. He's not considering how she feels. And Sam really just needs to give her some time. Everyone is throwing the word counseling around, and I really think that she needs to go, because she's going to slip up either with Sam or Victoria, and she's going to end up in jail. They're going to put her in a bunker next to Kyle. So she really needs to go and talk to someone, get her emotions out in a safe way so that they can, give her some suggestions on how to deal with what she's going through, because the way that she's handling it, it's not good for anybody. So do you guys think that she's going to forgive Sam and be ready to move on? Maybe she can forgive him and be ready to leave, but she has to deal with that emotion that she's feeling right now before she makes any type of decision. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be doing my full episode breakdown really soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it, and also share the video. If you're an Oval fan, go ahead and sub to this channel, because I do video breakdowns like this all the time. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Ruthless TV, and I'll see you on the next one.